What's going on, guys? Welcome to Tech Savvy Buyer. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to hack a PS Vita. And it's pretty straightforward. I got a lot of requests for this based on the last video that I made. For those of you guys who didn't see that, you can check it out here. Basically just told you guys why it's totally worth having a PS Vita in 2019. And the huge part of it was because you can hack it, put some emulators on there, different kinds of ROMs, and all kinds of homebrew stuff that's really cool. You can even stream your gaming PC over to this, and you can actually capture video footage from this via USB onto your PC and broadcast that if you do Twitch and other things like that. So all in all, it's definitely worth hacking it. Now, this tutorial applies to both the PS Slim model and it'll also apply to the big fat PCH 1000 model. It doesn't matter which one you have. The only requirement for this tutorial to actually work is to make sure that you're running the software below 3.69. And looking up the software is actually pretty easy. All you got to do is navigate to your settings. You're going to click on Start, then you're going to scroll down all the way to System and click on System Information. And so here you'll be able to see your firmware, and the only thing you got to do is make sure that you're running at least below 3.69. So as you can see here, I have 3.5 running on this. So I wanted to share an interesting story about this Vita because it was quite a pain in the butt to go ahead and get this. But if you guys don't want to hear it, that's not a problem. You guys can fast forward to where we start hacking. So there should be a timestamp in the description below where you can do that. But anyways, those of you guys sticking around, all I wanted to say is I probably went to about 6 or 7 different GameStops in Cincinnati, Ohio, that's where I live, just to find a Vita that's in great shape and is running a firmware version below 3.69. Anyone that I found that was below 3.69 was beat to death, so much so that it was not worth me even showing it to you. Because, guys, obviously I want to make sure that the product that I'm showing you guys looks nice, and you can see generally the condition of this is really, really nice. I don't know why the camera just does not want to pick up on it and just wants to stare at my beautiful face. But jokes aside, this is in really, really good shape, guys. I mean, it's almost like it's brand new. There's maybe tiny little marks here and there, but not bad. So for those of you guys who are interested in picking one up, for 130 bucks, GameStop does have it. That's a very competitive price. You'll see that the price range is anywhere between $100 to $150, kind of depends where you go and get it. But there's hope out there. And for even my viewers in Canada, you guys can go to EB Games and do the same thing. I'm pretty sure it's the same out there. I actually lived in Canada for a few years in Toronto, so I know for a fact that you can go and buy used consoles and stuff and whatnot there. Anyways, back to the point here. If you don't have a system and you're trying to find one that's below 3.69 just so you can hack it, there's hope. Just make sure you go and crash every single GameStop that you can find in a vicinity that's close to you. You'll definitely find one that's there. And if you don't, then you'll have to resort to going on eBay or another place to get it. So the moral of the story was, don't let your hopes get down, keep your hopes up, and you'll be able to find one to do. And the last thing I'll add to that, suppose all things aside and you could not find one, you can still go ahead and do a downgrade. However, the downgrade means you're gonna have to open this bad boy up, change the motherboard to a motherboard that has a lower firmware, and you have to get the one that is either 3G or Wi-Fi depending on what model system you have, even if it's slim. So with that being said, there's always a route to hack if you really want to do it, and if I get enough requests for that too, guys, I will go ahead and do it. This video got crazy amount of requests. Got almost like 800 some votes on you guys wanting to see this get done. And that's why we're here today. So nonetheless, now let's talk about getting this ready to get hacked. All the files that you're gonna need to do this are gonna be linked in the description below. There's a few files that you're gonna need to do if you're running a firmware that is below 3.68. So I wanna add a little bit of information to that for you guys because I'm gonna give you my logic behind this and why I think it makes sense. You can hack it if it's 3.60, 3.65, 3.67, and 3.68, and I believe you can even hack a couple versions before that. My recommendation to you guys is to go ahead and update your Vita to 3.68. That's the latest one that can actually be hacked. And the only difference between hacking 3.68 and some of the lower ones is that this is going to be a soft mod, which means that when you reboot your Vita, every time you do, you're going to have to click on a specific icon, and I'll actually show you right now, and it takes like 5 seconds to basically reinitiate the hack. So you just have to kind of do a quick jailbreak every time you reboot it per se. And it's really simple. There's a hack, there's an app on there called h-encore. You guys can see that blue app there. You just click it, it boots up, you click start, and then you go and press OK. It asks you for trophy information. You say yes, blah, 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 and follow the instructions, and it should present you with the screen just like that. And there you go. That's it. All I gotta do is click install henkaku, And that's the hack. So how long did that take? A few seconds, right? Nothing crazy. Anyways, that's how simple it is for a soft mod. Now, why do I think you guys should do Software 3.68? The reason's pretty simple. So any game that was released after Firmware 3.68 came out is probably going to require you to be running a Vita with at least a firmware of 3.68. It's just a stupid thing that Sony does. They require the games that are coming out newer, which there really aren't many because this is at the end of its life cycle. So albeit there are not going to be a ton of games that are going to be there, you're just going to have less compatibility issues if you have a later version of your firmware running. That being said, if you don't want to do that, it's totally up to you. In this guide, I'm going to show you how to update it without getting your system compromised or banned or anything like that, because it can be a pain in the butt to do this. It's not really that straightforward. But one more thing that you guys need to take note of, if you're using a older one, the 1000 model, you're going to need a memory card to do the hack because you're going to have to copy some files over to it. So you'll need a memory card for this. If you have the PS Vita Slim, there's already 1 GB of storage built into it, so you don't have to worry about having a memory card to actually do the hack. So that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and jump into the actual hack, and I'll show you guys what to do. Okay guys, so the very first thing you're gonna do, if you're running a firmware that's below 3.60, this is what you're gonna see happen to your system. So before you can do any kind of upgrades or anything, what you have to do is sign into your system, and that's obviously not going to be possible because it's going to keep asking you for an update. So let me give you an example of the error that you're going to see when you do that. So we'll take off flight mode, and I'm actually going to go ahead and connect to a Wi-Fi. I'm going to go ahead and delete this connection just because I had something saved in there, and I'm going to reconnect to it. Alright, so now I'm connected to it, and let's just go straight and see if I can sign into PlayStation Network. So this is the error you're going to get, and what you don't want to do is click Update System Software right now, because if you click on that, it's going to try and get you to the latest one, which is 3.70, and you cannot hack that. So do not click that even by mistake. So we're going to back out of this, and what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our network. We're going to go into our Wi-Fi, we're going to click on the setting that we just connected to, and we're going to go into the advanced settings. Now inside here, what you want to do is you want to change the DNS from automatic to manual, and you're going to put a code in here. You're going to change this address to 212.47.229.76, and then hit the black arrow and press OK. Make sure you don't touch any of the other things around here. Leave proxy server to do not use and the MTU settings to automatic, and leave that box unchecked. Hit OK. It should reset your Wi-Fi momentarily. It does. Now, what you're going to do is go back into PlayStation Network. You're going to click that again. Again, this is only valid for folks running below 3.6. You're going to click Update System Software now. We're going to do Update using Wi-Fi. And here you'll see it's saying Update to version 3.6, and you could see the Chinese symbols there. That basically means henkaku. So this is actually a direct way, that server address that we put in, to connect to a private server where the hack team has their stuff and update it like that. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is update this to 3.60 first. No matter what firmware you have below 3.6, it's always going to bring you to this. If you have it above 3.6, you will not see that system notification when it clicks on update. So there we are. We're just going to let it update, and I'll be back once that is done. Okay, so the download finished, and now it's going ahead and installing it. The download did take a little bit longer than I expected, and only because it's pulling from another server and not an official Sony server. So we'll go ahead and finish the update, and then I'll show you guys a couple other things right after. Okay, so the update just finished installing, and it rebooted the Vita. If you get a black screen, just hold the power button until you get it to restart. And you can see here that the system is now on 3.60. Now at this point, guys, I'd like to say that if you want to stop and keep your system at this software, you can absolutely do that. Only thing you need to go and do is make sure you go back into your Wi-Fi settings and take out that DNS server that you had. So you can change your DNS back to automatic, click OK, and you're done. Now, to hack 3.6, it's really simple. All you're going to do is go into a browser, which is in the top here. So you're going to open up the browser, and then you're going to type in henkaku .xyz. So it should look just like that. And then you're going to hit OK. and you should be presented with this screen, and you just click install. And it's going to give you this little warning that says, hey, your warranty is going to be voided, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Just click install. Now at this point, if you get this error, all you have to do is just click OK. And boom, it's going to start going through this automatically. And you can see the entire thing is now going through just from accessing Wi-Fi, and it'll install that way. So as you guys saw, it just finished its thing. All you got to do is go over to your settings, and you should now see a new icon or row that says henkaku settings. You see that? That means that your system is officially hacked at this point. Now, another cool thing you can do is basically, if you want to go ahead and update to 3.68, this is the way to do it now. Now you can click enable unsafe. You want to enable version spoofing, and inside the spoof version, what we're going to put is the latest firmware that's out. So it's not 3.65 right now, it's 3.70. We're going to put 3.70, and what this is going to do is it's going to trick the Sony network to think that your device is actually running 3.70. So now what we're going to do is try and sign up, and it shouldn't tell us to update or give us any errors. It should just pop up into the screen for us to use an account. So from here, if you have your existing account, go ahead and sign into it and put your information in. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. So mine is the Tech Savvy Buyer. Scroll down. I'm going to put my password in real quick. And once you have your password in, just click on next. Oh, I forgot to put .com. Whoops, amateur mistake, guys. Let's try that again. There you go. Now I'm signed in, and at this point, so I'm kind of like halfway signed in. I'm not fully signed in. If I try and click full sign in, it might kick me out, it might not, and it looks like it's going to try and kick me out because, again, we're like spoofing this, right? So we're pretending that we're on 3.7. We're not exactly on 3.7. But in this case, look, it worked fully through, so no issues there. Now that I'm fully signed in, what I can also do is make sure that I activate this Vita. So you want to make sure you go into game or whatever and just click activate. It's going to go ahead and activate the Vita so that your system is fully activated. Now this should get rid of almost any problem that you're going to encounter while doing the upgrade. So again, I don't want to stay on 3.68. I want to, or sorry, 3.60. I want to go on 3.68. So now that I've been signed in into the system, I can go ahead and now change that network setting back over to the private DNS. And the only reason we want to do that is because we don't want this to connect and automatically do an update through Sony servers. So I'm just going to click manual, and again, I'm going to do 212.47.229.76, hit the black arrow down and hit OK. All right, we're kicked out. Boom. Now the system, again, so you guys can stop here. You're done. If you want to go ahead and put different apps, I have another video. You can go to that and learn how to put homebrew and different stuff and what to do with it now that you've hacked it. Otherwise, at this point, what we're going to do is try and upgrade to 3.68. So stay along for the video, and we'll see you on the screen up there now. Okay guys, now that we're on the PC, at this point your PS Vita should be on firmware 3.60. Again, I'll just reiterate, if you don't need to do the rest of these steps anymore because your Vita is technically considered hacked based on what we just did on the Vita and what you guys basically just saw. So if you have henkaku on there, you're now able to run homebrew and emulators. That's good. Now, like I mentioned before, you're going to be limited to certain games that you can install on there based on the firmware, but there are patches out there that you can go ahead and do it. So again, it's totally up to you. I just have a personal preference to go to 3.68, even though if you scour through Reddit, a lot of people just prefer to stay on 3.6 or 3.65. It's my personal choice to stay on 3.68. And if you guys want to follow me and do the same thing, this is the next step that you're going to have to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to go in. I have links in the description to each one of these things. You're going to make sure that you go ahead and download PS Vita's firmware 3.68. So you'll click on this link. You'll go ahead and click download, and you'll click download from external mirror, and you should get a file that looks like the one down there. PSV update / whatever. In my case, it says 2 because I've downloaded this file a couple of times already. You're also going to go over to this site, and the link is in the description below, for QCMA, which is basically a software that you're going to use to connect to your Vita and do the transferring of different files. Now, if you have a Mac, you'll download the one with the DMG. If you have a Windows, you'll download the EXE. Go ahead and download that and install it. I've already done that and installed it. It's very simple. Just click next on everything. There's nothing else that you need to configure specifically. Now, last but not least, you're going to go to this link, and it's going to open this page here that has an XML code in here. What you're going to want to do is click copy on this, and you want to open up a notepad that has an editor in there. So I have Notepad++. This is a free to use software, and you guys can go ahead and look this up anywhere else you want. So I'm going to click a new one. I'm going to paste this in here. Now the key that you can see here is that this is showing a system version of 3.60. And the region ID is US. So if you have a different region PS Vita, make sure you change the ID to your specific region. So if you're from the UK and you have a UK PS Vita, click on UK. Otherwise, if you're in the US and you're using a US based Vita, that's not a Japanese one or anything, just leave it as US. Now back to this system version, you'll see like how many times you see 3.6, 3.6 all across the board. What we want to do is change this to the specific firmware version we're upgrading to. Now on that website you saw over here, we have options to change it to 3.69, 3.7. If you want to go to 3.65, this specific website doesn't have it, but if you find that firmware, you're going to have to rename it to that specific code. So bring this back up here. What I'm going to do is go ahead and change this to 3.68 across the board. Okay, so after you've gone in and edited, it should look like this. Everything should say 3.68 instead of 3.60. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to save this file as, we want to make sure that this is saved as an XML file, first of all. Whoops. So we'll bring it down to that and have it as an XML. And we're going to name this file with the code you see up here, psp2-updatelist.xml. It has to say that for it to get recognized, otherwise it won't work. So make sure you don't make any kind of mistakes on this and avoid using caps lock and all that kind of crap. Now, I like to keep my stuff neat, and what I've done here is I've gone ahead and created a folder inside my downloads called PS Vita Hacks. And as you can see, I already have the file in there, but I'm just going to go ahead and save over this. It already exists, so I'll go ahead and click save. So again, 3.68 is across the board here. Now we can go ahead and close this file out, and we're pretty much done with this. Again, once you've installed this, you can go ahead and close this as well. And once you've downloaded, you can go ahead and close this as well. Now head over to the PS Vita Hacks folder that you created, and this should be that download file that you saw originally. Now it was originally named something different, and I'll go ahead and pop that open for you guys, and you can take a look at that also. And this is what it was called originally. So I'm just going to drag this over here again so you guys can see that and move that across. So we have PSV update /1/pop. Again, this is one of the ones I downloaded. I think the last one you guys saw on the screen was 2, but this will be fine. And all we need to do is rename this file to this. So it should say psp2update.pup. Make sure this folder should only have these two files right now. So I'll go ahead and get rid of that. Now that you have this done, what you're going to want to do is open up QCMA. So go over to QCMA. As you see, I already have it open. Just click it, right click on settings. Okay, you'll see all these different areas where it says specify the folders that the PS Vita will access for each content type. And over here you see one that says updates. And you can see it's been placed in my documents in a folder named PSV update. So if I click browse there, it'll take me there. Okay. What you want to do at this point is you want to take these two files, you want to right click, copy, you're going to go over to that folder that we saw, so documents, PSV updates, and you're going to paste them in here. So now I have them in the update file. The other thing you want to make sure you do is your settings should look exactly like you see it here. Make sure offline mode is ticked. You can skip photo scanning, skip music scanning. This is actually irrelevant. It doesn't matter if you leave that on or not. And you want to make sure that you ignore the local file PSP update XML or whatever, that this is left unchecked. And the reason is you don't want it to ignore it. We just created that file, so we want it to actually read what we wrote in there. And the rest you can leave this just the way you see it here. Latest, firmware, you don't need to touch anything else. If your screen does not look like this, make sure it does look like this. Go ahead and hit OK, and now you can plug in your PS Vita into the system. Okay, so before we plug in, we just want to make sure that we have flight mode enabled on the Vita so that you're not going to get connected to Wi-Fi or anything else. You just want to make sure that Wi-Fi is turned off and flight mode is on. We're going to go ahead and plug in our Vita, and we're going to scroll down to our settings. Hit start, and you should see system update. Click on system update and click on update by connecting to a PC. And now it should give you the option that you can go ahead and do an update to 3.68. Now you'll only get an error if you did not update that file list correctly. So if you see it here, everything is working fine. I'm gonna go ahead and click next and go ahead and start the update to 3.68 because that's the one I am looking for personally on my system. All right, so now your system should be at 3.68 like we're showing in this guide, and it's okay if it's at 3.65, it's okay if it's at 3.67, any one of those will work fine. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna go ahead and enable our Wi-Fi. So we're gonna make sure we go ahead and connect to our Wi-Fi. So let's make sure we turn on Wi-Fi first and disable airplane mode. So we might actually take that off. Go back into network and make sure we connect to our Wi-Fi. Now, because we did upgrade, we've got rid of all those DNS settings that we did previously when we were trying to do the update. So again, we have to trick the Vita into thinking that it's connected to PSN to do a sign-in, because if you don't sign in, you cannot use Content Manager, which is key to get this to work. So I'm gonna go over to my settings here. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that your DNS is still set to the same thing that you see here. Make sure DNS settings are manual. Your primary DNS is set to 212.47.229.76 and hit OK. Now we're gonna try to do a sign in. And remember last time we were doing this, it automatically said you need an update. When we clicked update, it tried to download 3.6. It should not do that anymore. Since we're running 3.68, it's gonna say, you know, do an update system software. If I click OK here, it should tell you what the latest version is. Let's say I click update using Wi-Fi. See, it already says that it's installed, so you can go ahead and ignore that. If you get this error, all you gotta do is really simply just restart the Vita. So power it off and then reboot it again. I'll fast forward through this part for you guys so you don't have to wait and see me boot through the entire thing. All right, so once we've rebooted, we're gonna go back into settings and we're gonna try this again. As you guys can see, that server did kick in and work, and it just went ahead and signed in. It gave me an error, but it just showed up and it worked fine. So it says that I'm signed in now. Now I can go ahead and plug the Vita into my computer with QCMA running. Remember, we already did that. So we have QCMA running. We're gonna click on Content Manager. We're gonna click Start. And we're gonna go ahead and click Copy Content. And so if everything works through this time, you're gonna get presented with this screen. If you see this screen, you've successfully fooled PSN into thinking that you have a legit updated version going and whatnot. So now what we can do is head over to our PC and do the next steps from there. All right, so if you've already been doing all the updates to the Vita like we've been doing in the beginning of this video, you'll already have QCMA installed. The other thing you're gonna need to download is this file here, which is auto h-encore 0.4.4 is the latest version. You wanna make sure you do that. And in fact, I'm just gonna double click this straight from here. And I'm gonna go ahead and extract all of these files into that folder that we made in our downloads called PS Vita Hacks. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And once it's complete, we can go ahead and close this. Now at this point, you want to go ahead and open QCMA. Now for those of you guys who skip past the video and you don't know what's going on, all you need to do is download that QCMA file and go ahead and install it at this point. Once you install it, you're going to see this little screen pop up when you go over to the advanced settings in the other folder. And you want to make sure that you see your screen exactly like this now. So guys who've been watching the video from the start, you can tell there's already some differences here. We want to make sure that the custom PS Vita version says 03.690.000. We use custom, have latest, and we want to ignore the local file this time. We're not going to look towards that to do anything. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and click OK now. And we're going to make sure that we do a refresh of the database real quick. So it should basically pretend like it's going ahead and connecting to it, and it's just going to do its little thing there. So you can go ahead and minus this out, and this is what your PS Vita Hacks folder should look like. You should have the update from the previous one if that's what you were doing. If not, you should have these two files in there at least. Okay, so at this point, your Vita should be connected to the PC. It should show that screen that we saw before. You should have these files inside your hacks folder. Again, you can actually get rid of these two. You don't need these right away inside here anymore. And what we're going to do is right click the exe file, and we're going to run this as administrator, and we're going to follow the on-screen instructions. Now it's going to tell you should have QCMA installed. We've already done all of these steps a couple of times actually, in fact. And we're going to make sure we leave the trim excess content for Bitter Smile demo. We want to get rid of it. We don't want to take up excess space because we already know memory cards are pretty freaking expensive. So we're going to go ahead and click start. Now this will take its time to go ahead and get done. This is actually the longest part of this entire video and part of hacking. And you'll actually see a pop-up sometimes come up. If this comes up, obviously we're connected via USB, so just click USB and then click next. So once you've clicked down and you see this file open up, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna make sure that you unplug your Vita and then replug it back in. So we'll go ahead and do that, unplug and replug. And then you wanna click on copy content again. It's gonna go ahead and do the connect. And it's gonna give you this pop-up which basically says that your device has been done. Now, we still have a little bit of steps left in here, but it's not gonna be on the PC anymore. Now we're gonna be going over straight onto the actual Vita. So go ahead and click OK. You're officially done with the side from the PC for now. You can go ahead and close out this menu, close out your hacks folder, and let's go back to the Vita. Now on the Vita, you see the menu here. We have the option to copy content from the PC to Vita system. Leave your Vita plugged in. And what we're going to do is click on PC to PS Vita. Sorry, I didn't realize you guys can see that clear. We'll click on Applications, click on PS Vita, and you'll see h-encore there. We're going to highlight that, we're going to click Copy, and we're going to say, have this thing copied to the system. Go ahead and hit OK, and now it should start copying over h-encore onto your local memory card. So this can sometimes take a few seconds to a few minutes, just really depends on the speed of the computer and the speed of other stuff that's going on. I mean, it says it's going to take 327 minutes, but obviously not. So that wasn't too bad, was it, guys? So only a few seconds left, and I believe we are done. Now if we exit out, you can go ahead and swipe down, and you should see a new bubble app called h-encore. There you go. Now, last steps up, we're going to click on h-encore. We're going to go ahead and click Start. I'm going to ignore this trophy notification. You'll see random screens pop up. Now what you're going to do is click Install henkaku. You're going to press X on it. It's going to start installing. It's going to say success. Great, we've installed henkaku. Okay, so once you've installed henkaku, what you're going to do is install or download Vita Shell. Once you click it, it should go ahead and start downloading eBoot. Make sure you don't have that DNS set. If you get an error, just back out, go to your Wi-Fi, and make sure that you remove those DNS settings that we put in before. So it should install the application. And hopefully not give us any kind of error now. So it was a success. All right, now we can go ahead and officially exit h-encore, and you'll see now we've got Vita Shell opened up here. So if we go into settings, you want to verify that you have henkaku running. You can see this menu has come up again. Again, don't forget to keep spoofed versions set to the latest one that's out right now, which is 3.7. And we can go ahead and make sure that everything is running just to show you guys what you'll see different here. See 3.68 and it actually has henkaku written next to it. So at this point, you're officially done hacking the Vita. So welcome back, guys. Now, that was pretty much it. You guys just saw from beginning to end how to go ahead and hack it. And I walked you through the entire setup from beginning, starting with a 3.5, we upgraded to 3.6, and then we upgraded to 3.68, and then we did the hack. Now there's gonna be a lot of naysayers in the comment section and a whole bunch of different areas that they're gonna pretty much say, like, you guys shouldn't have updated to 3.68. Don't listen to any of that. It's really totally up to you. There are differences in having a permanent one and a non-permanent one, which I mentioned is just simply going ahead and clicking h-encore and starting that up every time you restart your system. So it only happens when you restart, so it's not a major flaw. But anyways, I want to show you guys from here again that we are running 3.68 now on this Vita, and it's modified with henkaku. So now that you actually have your Vita fully hacked, you're probably wondering, well, what is the next step now? What do I do? And you're probably lost, confused, don't really know where else to go. And I felt the same way when I first did it, so I'm gonna make this easy for you guys. I'm not gonna show you what to do right now in this video. You can go ahead and click on the next video as part of this series, which is gonna show up at the end of this in one of the cards on the side, and you can go ahead and follow the tutorial. I'll show you how to install certain key apps that I think are worth installing on there, and I'll even show you guys and teach you how to install different packages, even if you wanna do game backups, how you install those. Now, I'm not gonna show you where you can go and get them from, that's totally on you guys, but the point is basically just to learn how to go ahead and do this. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you guys supporting it. I hope this tutorial tutorial was helpful and better than some of the other tutorials that you see out there. Let me know in the comments below if you guys had any issues with it. I know that this was a pretty challenging process throughout the way where you might get stuck at signing into PSN. So if you have any issues, just reach out to me, send me a message, you can email me personally, and I'll help you guys do as much as I can. But until then, I'll see you guys on the next video on what are some cool things to install on your hacked Vita. Thank you very much for watching. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, and if you like this content, go ahead and smash that like button. I try to put out new content every single week, so stay tuned for more stuff, guys. Till then, see you guys later.